to achieve these goals, I believe that every company in Scotland needs to today examine how it can increase innovation, target new overseas markets and attract investment. And in the current climate, these areas are likely to make the biggest difference to individual company performance and in our growing economy. And every single day I see examples of companies who are seizing the opportunities of a recession and growing their way out of recession. So let's take the notion of innovation first. Companies which continually innovate grow twice as fast, both in employment and profitable sales, as companies that don't embrace an innovation culture. Innovation is about taking new ideas for business benefit, not new ideas in themselves. It's not necessarily just invention, it's about making them a reality and building this into absolutely everything a company does so that a culture of innovation can be built over time. Business expenditure in research and development is still very much an issue in Scotland and it affects our overall productivity. So we do need to raise investment levels so that we can continue to develop our collective competitive advantage. I'm kind of getting a bit sick of saying how great our research in our universities is. It's absolutely great, but there's a big hole at the end of that sentence because we're just not capitalising enough of that and we're not commercialising it enough. I want to be saying all over the world that in Scotland our businesses invest more in R&D and that we commercialise more of that than any country in the world, not just that we produce these great citations and patents. So to that end, we work alongside companies to help them fund their R&D projects. And what I'm hearing, and there's been a lot of discussion about grants, is that these R&D grants are helping companies to undertake projects they wouldn't have otherwise done. And that many projects are of a much larger scale than they would have otherwise have embarked on without our funding assistance. And after all, we shouldn't be funding anything that would just have happened anyway. I just want to give you an example to bring to life. It's easy to talk about this, but one company that I've met recently that's really embraced innovation and seeing the business benefits is a Dundee-based company called Scan. It's a dental technology company just started 2 years ago to commercialise an innovative handheld device for the early detection of tooth decay. Now we've been working with Scan to secure co-investment funding from our investment funds. We've been working with them on leadership training and they've got a very ambitious approach to this, and we've been working with them on international support to develop their technology, but more importantly to bring it to market. Over the last 12 months the company's gone from 6 staff to 22, but most of those staff are actually not in Scotland, they're in North America or in Canada, and in the last 12 months their turnover has gone from 0 to 1 million. They've now secured a major distribution deal in the USA and Canada, and they've recently been awarded an R&D grant from us to develop new software already for the next generation of its dental device. Because of their approach to customers, they've had immediate feedback on how to improve that, how to innovate further, and they think the next generation will be even more profitable for them. So innovation is very much at the heart of the company's future growth plans. They continue to be recognised for their groundbreaking technology, and they just won the Best New Diagnostic Device Award from a US Dental Excellence Organisation, a huge organisation, and they won the Most Promising New Company in Scotland at the Life Sciences Awards. So now to internationalisation. Businesses need to look at internationalising their operations. Exporting is talked about extensively as the single biggest opportunity for economic recovery, and we heard Ian say that when they met with the Chancellor last week, they said that it was one of their 3 most important areas. It's just the fact that companies that operate internationally are more productive and they're more innovative, and they are more likely to secure finance. I believe that helping a company internationalise is as much about developing the ambition and the leadership as it is about financial assistance to enter new markets. And I said earlier that I believe we need more ambition in our Scottish companies, and that ambition is driven by visionary leaders who are not afraid to seek new growth opportunities overseas. And it's not just about the very obvious sales benefits of exporting. Companies that export are 20% more productive than their non-exporting counterparts. That's just a fact. You know, in this job, I think I've turned into a bit of a fact giver and a myth buster, and I think that's really, really important. These things are not in isolation. You get all of these things right, and you're just a more productive, innovative, and profitable business. So although we are helping more companies to internationalise, for example 900 last year, and helping increase exports by 60 million a year, it's not enough. We still need more companies to operate internationally to help us sharpen our competitive edge. From trade missions to learning journeys to our fabulous global Scot network all over the world, there is a wealth of support, advice and expertise that if you are not looking to international markets, you can capitalise on to help you take those crucial first steps. And I just again want to give you one example where addressing leadership challenges has resulted in new international growth markets. Ayrshire-based Gentech International manufactures sensors and reed switches for the automotive, agricultural, construction and food and drink sectors. And over the past couple of years, we've worked with that company to realise its growth ambitions of entering new markets, both here and overseas. But in parallel, we've worked intensively with the leadership team to enhance their existing management skills and their processes. During that time, Gentech has developed and launched an innovative sensor for the transportation market, and it's doubled its turnover from 3 million 18 months ago to 6 million. Gentech is also actively operating new markets outside its traditional markets in terms of Europe and the US, but now they're in Brazil, Japan, China and India. And if this has whet your appetite, as Jim said earlier, my colleague Anne McCall from SDI will be here this afternoon with more information on how you can access help to internationalise the benefits that other companies are enjoying. And I see one or two people from SDI in the audience who I'm sure would be happy to talk to you. So finally, investment. How can we attract more investment into Scotland? We do need more investment capital if we're to grow our companies, and there is a very real link between ambitious growth plans and securing investment. For example, every company we supported last year through our equity investment funds has exporting ambitions or is already exporting. So again, it's this hand-in-glove nature of being in international markets and attracting investment. I think the good news is that the risk capital market in Scotland is increasing at a time where it's declining in the rest of the UK. And I think this is largely down to the success of our co-investment funds, which encourages the private sector to invest alongside us in Scottish companies. We know that we can do more though, and the Scottish Investment Bank will allow us to continue these funds and introduce the new Scottish Loan Fund as a new vehicle for debt finance. If we can do more in these three areas of innovation, internationalisation and investment, and at the same time grow the number of high growth companies, we will really see a significant growth in the Scottish economy. So as Ian kindly said yesterday, we launched our business plan for the next 3 years, which highlights how we will deliver against each of these areas. And there's a little A5 postcard. It's not a big document, it's just an A5 postcard on our stand, and you can get it online also. Now more than ever, budget challenges across the public sector mean that we have to use the knowledge and the evidence, and I'm absolutely obsessed with taking decisions based on evidence, to inform us on where we can invest so it has the biggest impact possible. So in the same way as I said, I'm asking you to seize opportunities for business growth, I need to ensure that my organisation seizes the opportunities that present themselves for Scotland's economy, and be confident and clear that our actions provide a genuine competitive edge for Scotland. As I said earlier, there are opportunities for business and economic growth in the next few years. You know, I have been described as a glass half full person, and I do think that's an understatement, but I'm also a pragmatist. But I absolutely believe it's easy to talk ourselves down, and we're very good at that in Scotland. We've got to be giving more examples and talking ourselves up. So there are opportunities for Scotland. We want to work with more companies with the determination and the ability to exploit these opportunities. And by working together, we can have a significant impact on Scotland's economic success. So 15 minutes this is a short time for me to give all my thoughts on how we can maximise Scotland's economic growth opportunities. But what I hope I have given you is a flavour of where these economic opportunities for growth lie, how we can work together to exploit them for Scotland's benefits, and what you can do today in coming here to B2B Scotland to seize your business growth opportunities. And if there is one thing that I would implore of you today, it is to just remove any limits on your ambitions. I know it's chucking it down with rain out there and the sky's grey and all the rest of it, but to try and suspend anything you feel about that and remove those limits to your ambitions. If we can raise our collective ambitions in Scotland, then I think we could see a startling transformation. And I do just want to leave you with this thought. If we took just one area of business, such as internationalisation, and raised our ambitions, what could we achieve? The reality is that if the percentage of Scottish companies exporting was the same as the percentage exporting in the UK as a whole, so in Scotland just under 5% of our businesses export, significantly less than the UK, then Scotland would have 900 new exporters, and the value of those exports would increase by almost £4 billion. So now, wouldn't that make a difference to our economic success? So I'm just going to leave with that hanging in the air. Thanks very much for listening, and I look forward to taking questions later. Thank you.